Hello everyone, this is Heather and this is going to be a quick tutorial on our stocks ticker dashboard. So this is a really comprehensive dashboard and we might not go into detail of everything, but I'll try to give you a good enough idea on how to use all of these widgets so that you can just go ahead and start using these. In some of our later webinars and videos, we'll talk in depth about each one of these widgets. So let's start from the top. At the very top, we have the ticker name, we have the current price, and then we have the price change. Then these two buttons are used to navigate to other dashboards with the same symbol name. So let's see, we click on this, we are going to go to the options dashboard, and then we can just click it to go back. Then we have the stats about the ticker. So we have the market cap, we have other stats, but since this is an index, we don't really have any stats for this. So let's try to open up Apple, and then you can see that we have all these stats. Anything that's green in the website is actually a bullish or positive sign, and anything that's red is a negative sign. So if you click on more statistics, you are going to see a lot more information about some other statistics as well. So we have shares, we have institutional ownership, we have shorted shares, we have PE ratio, we have other things. So this is to give you an idea on how well the company is doing financially. And the next we have the price chart. So right off the bat, we are not the most comprehensive charting platform, since that is not our main focus. Our main focus is to go over millions of data points and give you really good trade ideas. But since charting is a really essential part of any platform, we had to develop our own charting platform. So this is not really comprehensive, but this has all the tools that you'll need to do your own research and to find out good plays. So let's quickly go over everything one by one. So on the chart, all of these candles are daily candles. If you want to change them, you can just go to the intraday data and you can choose any other time frame. Then on the left, we have different types of charts that you can use. We have text and we have some other drawings that you can draw on the chart. Then we have horizontal and vertical lines. Then we have Fibonacci series, and then you can max out the chart to make it full screen. Then on the chart again, we have these two lines. So the line that's closer to the price is the 20 moving average, and then the other one is the 50 moving average. This orange line that you see here is anchored VWAP. Anchored VWAP is a relatively new concept, so I'll go into details of this in one of our later videos, but just know that it is similar to intraday VWAP. It's just that instead of having it intraday, we actually anchor it from a certain point in time, and then we create VWAP just like we'll do VWAP calculation intraday. And then this is mostly used for swing trading, and this is a really powerful tool to find good support and resistance levels. Let's now move to the buttons that we have on the top. So we have covered this button. This is an algorithmic driven support and resistance lines engine that we have developed in-house. So if you click on this button, you'll see that it is going to go over the price action history, and it is going to make 4 or 5 really good support and resistance levels for you. And these are the levels that you can use to trade. So for example, let's say the price is here right now, and this is a really strong support level. Let's say if the price dips on this level, then that might be a really good entry for you. If you are new, always remember that you need to buy at the support and you need to sell at a resistance. And another good tidbit is when a support is crossed, so if we come here and we go down, then that support now becomes a resistance, and same goes for when a resistance is crossed, it becomes a support. So these are again algorithmic generated lines, and these are really useful to find out where are some of the best entries and exits are. Let's just clear that. Similarly, we have trend lines. So this is not really a good trend line. I think it creates a really beautiful trend line for SPY. So we can see that we have this beautiful trend line here, and we have hit this trend line about 8 times, and this trend line is acting as a really good resistance here, and the engine was able to build this in an automated way. So whenever the price touches this trend line, you can see that it goes back if we just look into the chart a little bit more, we'll also realize that this is a trend line as well, and that the algorithm didn't make this, so we have to manually make this. But this is now a really cool sort of support and resistance trend line that you can use. So whenever price comes down, you buy; when it goes up, you sell. And again, when the price breaks out of this trend line resistance, now it becomes a support. So just keep that in mind. Let's clear that as well. Then we have a simulate projections button, which is again an algorithm that we have developed that looks at the historical price action, and it sees how price moves for this particular ticker, and based on that information it simulates the future price for 30 days. So the name of the exact algorithm is called Monte Carlo estimation if you want to look it up, but this basically just gives you an idea on how the price might behave in the next 30 days, and we mostly use it to find out lower and higher interval levels where the price might potentially reach. Then, since a lot of people are interested in technical analysis, we have a bunch of tools for technical analysis. We have a bunch of other technical indicators, so you can choose stochastics, you can choose these clouds, so you can use all of these technical indicators, and then you can also change the time periods of anchored VWAP, and you can also change periods for moving averages. So that's a quick overview of this charting platform, but again, this is not the most comprehensive platform out there, but it still does its job. Then we have these analyst ratings and stock ratings, but since these are mostly there for individual stocks instead of indices, let's quickly go to Apple. You can see that Apple has been upgraded by a few companies. So these are the most recent analyst grades. Then this is a stock rating, and then we have some previous earnings. The next two widgets are really useful if you are into investing. So when you're trying to invest, you always want to invest in companies that have had higher growth in the past and that are going to have higher growth in the future as well. So you want to see larger financial metrics in the past, and you also want to see good revenue increase and good earnings per share increase in the future. So for Apple, we can see that the revenue has been pretty good in the last few years, in the last 3 years, and the future estimates are pretty good as well. So they're mostly above zero. Anything above 30 to 50 is a really good value. So if you find that, then that might be a good opportunity for you to invest in. So the next widget that we are going to go through is a really interesting one. With a huge interest in stocks based on GME and AMC's rallies in the last few months, a lot of people are now interested in short squeezes, since that's what happened with GME. And for that we had to add short interest or short sales volume to our platform as well. So I'll go over some of the problems with short interest. So short interest data is always 2 weeks delayed. So if you go to any platform and you look at the short interest data, that's most of the times that's from 2 weeks ago, and you can't really use it in a live setting. So the way we have addressed that problem is we actually look at the shorted shares every day for each stock. That data is provided on daily basis. Short interest involves some other calculations as well, and then we use the shorted shares information to calculate short interest ourselves. So this is just a proxy of the short interest. This is not the exact value, but since we are providing it live, the proxies more often than not is good enough. So you can just use it without any hesitation, and you will be successful in finding good short squeezes. So that's this. If you just hover over these points, you can see that the short interest at this point in time was about 0.13%, which is really low. I'll give you a quick example of how we can find short squeezes here. So Clove moved about 14% today, and at this point in time it also moved 14%. So let's just keep a note of this time at April 16. Now if we go down and we hover over this point, we can see that on April 16th there was about 45% short interest, and that's a very high value. Anything above 20 to 30% is usually a very high value, and you can see that there was a lot of short interest here, and we can assume that most of these shorts did not cover their positions, which is why when price started to rally today, it rallied a lot again, about 14%. And we can assume that maybe if the shorts have still not covered their positions from here, then the price might have more movement to the upside. So we might have a good rally or a mini short squeeze here. Just something to note. And that's how I think if we see a huge short interest value here, and if we can see that there is something going on in the chart, then we can potentially find short squeezes like this. Let's go back to Apple. The next thing that we have is dark pool prints. So again, this is a fairly common thing that most users want, and instead of providing you just the last 2 weeks dark pool data, since it's always 2 weeks delayed, we provide you historical data to show you some trends. So what you want from this chart, we have the price on the right, so this is small line, and then the blue line is the total number of shares that were either bought or sold. We again don't know whether the shares were sold or bought, so we just know that they were traded. So what we want to see is we want to see an increase in the dark pool prints, and either an increase or decrease in the price. So we don't want to see anything jerky like this. This is not really good. We want to see some trend. So in many of these charts, we are looking for trends. If there is a clear trend, then we might want to look deeper into that stock to see if something is going on. So one example would be, let's say the price keeps going down, but the dark pool prints keeps going up. So and in that case, that might be the case that although the price is going down, companies or other institutions are loading up on shares, if that's a buy. And so that's a really strong signal that since other institutions are loading up on shares, the price might reverse soon, and that would be your entry. Then we have the most correlated, uncorrelated, and co-integrated stocks. The way we mostly use correlated stocks is to find sympathy plays. So I'll give you an example. Let's say a stock moves about 50% in a day, and the stock is a leader in the industry. What happens is some of the stocks in that industry that are not the leaders move along with that stock in the next few days. So let's say Apple moves 20% in a day. Then we have all these other stocks like Wong and not QQQ, since these are indices. Let's say Wong, that has a really high correlation with Apple. So this stock might move with Apple after after Apple has made its move. So that's how we try to find sympathy plays. And then once a move has begun, instead of going into Apple, we are now going into one of the sympathy plays, because that move for that sympathy play is going to start after Apple has made its move. For uncorrelated stocks, since these move in the opposite direction to the stock, we can use these for hedging purposes. So co-integrated is a slightly complex concept, so I'll try to explain it, and then in some other videos we'll go into detail. So co-integration means the highly co-integrated stocks just means that these two stocks, so Apple and UUP, let's say, always move at an equal distance from each other. So the distance between their prices always stays the same. And the way we want to use this is that if that distance ever increases or decreases significantly, then the distance is going to revert back to how it used to behave in a normal condition. So if there is any anomaly in that distance, then we want to take advantage of that anomaly and buy and sell these stocks to profit. I'll go deeper into how to use co-integration values to find a good mean reversion plays, but that's a topic for some other video. Then at the end we have insider trades, and then we have news. Insider trades, we are not seeing anything for Apple, but we can see for Clove there was a really big insider trade of about $100 million. Again, these provide us good indication on what the insiders are doing. If they are buying tons of shares, then that's a really positive sign. If they are selling tons of shares, then that's not really a good sign. So that's it for this dashboard. I hope I have explained it well enough in this short video. Again, we'll hold webinars and we'll talk about these things in far more detail. But for now, I hope this video was enough for you to understand what the dashboard is, and you can start using it right away. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video.